All right, everybody, we've done it again. It was about 8 days of wire to wire. Literally, we're leaving in about 6 hours from now, getting on a plane to head home. But I think the Rag Company studio really turned out amazing. I didn't see, we were here for about 3 days, and I never really took note to what it looked like before we came. And so Jimmy was showing me the before footage, and I didn't realize all the different patterns on the floor. The lighting really wasn't up to standard, and so it just made sense. The next evolution, Jeff had us come out here and gave us the MX and said, all right, let's do it right. So I'm going to take you through this whole facility, take you through the whole tour, talk about what we did, talk about what I think looks great. I really can't nitpick much in here. It really turned out amazingly well. So first thing you'll notice is several thousand feet of SwissTrax, and before they had SwissTrax Smooth. The Smooth is a nice tile. It just requires a whole lot more maintenance. And remember, here in Boise, Idaho, they have winters, which we don't have in some areas of the country. And so when you have winters and you come in with all the cinders and dirt and grime and salt, the disadvantage to Smooth SwissTrax versus the traditional RibTrax Pro is that you end up with stuff sitting on the surface. They also had a lot of white tile and light gray tile. So when Kyle and the OG design team worked with the team at Rag Company and Jeff, the owner, they decided, let's just keep it simple. We have a lot going on in the walls and the ceiling, so it made sense to do just the Matt Mormon spec slate gray, simple tile with a simple little black border in the wash bay area, but I think it turned out fantastically well. Remember, think opposite of what your mind normally heads to. The beauty of SwissTrax, especially the curved SwissTrax, is the dirt falls under it, and then they can grab a Flex vacuum or an Ego Vac and just suck the dirt up whenever you feel like it. It stays clean all the time. Before we shot this video, we walked around and just picked up a little bit of pallet pieces and things like that. The beauty of the flooring is that it stays clean, looks clean, and is easy to clean, especially in an environment where we have winter. Most of the dirt is going to be stuck in these tiles here. You can pop it out, pull it out, use some APC, clean the floor, you're good to go. So the next thing you'll see, remember Sabre cabinets? So they've had these from version 1 of their studio. The Sabre cabinets, this is actually going to turn into their prototype area. So we spent a lot of time with Gabe and John and the team trying to figure out what's the best way to lay this out? What's the best way to keep it clean? It's very different than my studio. My studio is mine. I'm the only one. And so we have the Wabas help me shoot in there. Mike F occasionally roots around the drawers real fast when he's doing some real man work. But in general, it's my studio. For the Rag Company, they have 15 or 20 people that all use this space to shoot all kinds of content for all kinds of videos. And so we needed to really think about the fact that they're going to be testing products. And so almost all of these doors are cleaned out and empty. So all of these will be set up, drawers and lowers will be set up for prototyping. We did set up, I have one more thing to do. I'm going to show Gabe has one more thing. He has to add some power here for the Ego chargers. But generally speaking, this is where they will set up for, I don't know if they get some new product line they're considering. We're going to store it here, keep it clean, keep it categorized. If they decide not to use that product, my advice was get it out of here, move on with it. Move on, get it out of here. Don't just stockpile things unless it's in consideration. And then the LevRack. LevRack, to me, the way I think of LevRack is that it is a way to maximize storage space. So it's high amount of storage per dollar spent, because you can basically take, this would be 4 closets that would take another 36 inches or so. We can shrink it down. This is the 7-foot version, which has some advantages. It looks nice and small, can fit in a regular garage as well. But this is where we're going to keep all of our overflow, all our gallon storage. So you'll notice in here we have Sternagloss, we have Koch Chemie, we have our P&S gallons. So this works well for gallon storage. We also put like the Ego fan, which is always a hard thing to figure out where to put. So the Ego fan will go here. And then like we have some lighting that we have to finish up on the Sabre cabinets. So this is, LevRack I find is really great, especially if you're working on cars and stuff. You have exhaust parts and things that, you know, maybe go into storage or up in the attic that you don't want it to sit on the floor or on your countertop. So for me, I think of LevRack as a sort of like a lab thing. So my lab is going to have it, the new OGHQ is going to have a bunch of LevRack. The Wawas are going to have their own LevRack. Kyle and team, the design team is going to have their own LevRack. Tommy in product development is going to have their own LevRack. Bryce will have his own LevRack for product, you know, all the creation and stuff he does. So I look at LevRack as a real catch-all to keep things nice, neat, and organized. I really like this concept here. The IK sprayers look great. So most of the work is going to be done over here when it comes to cleaning. And so they'll have cars staged in this area, and then also the dedicated wash bay, which is really awesome. And so I didn't get to it, but I ran out of time. Maybe tomorrow I'll mess with this a little bit. But I do want to go through and make sure all their fluids are topped off, make sure they have all the appropriate stuff. Probably I'll also pull some off of here that have to do with polishing, because polishing will happen over at the cabinet array. So as you're walking back in, we have our 2 bathrooms there, which is really nice. A couple of little things to take note. Mike killed it with this setup here. So they have a laundry setup, so washer and dryer in the corner, and then they have a Rousseau cabinet array with a sink. Mike kind of came up with this concept. They kind of cut the counter around the edge, caulked everything. Everything looks beautiful here. He had to finish the drywall as well, and then the upper is in place. So they have some room to store whatever Dawn dish soap and stuff like that. Rags to riches and stuff will be stored here. This is a key component, I think, to a high level of organization in a garage. Notice we have shelves, we have cabinets that don't have something in it. We have future proofing, especially when you have a team that has a tendency to buy and try lots of products. They have a lot of employees, of 60 plus people here, lots of people in and out. We need to make sure we have some room. We have room in our LevRack, we have room in our Sabre, we have some extra shelving here. This will likely be for staging towels after it comes out of the laundry, so they can fold and then leave the towels here until they're ready to put them away. So that's what I advised, what they may end up using. So the wash bay is really, really cool, I think. I like how this is open. They used to have a big curtain. I think they've realized that, especially as dry as it is here, we're in the high desert in Boise, Idaho, water isn't that much of an issue, especially as big as this is. They do have fiberglass reinforced plastic, FRP, here, and so this wall can get sprayed upon. The floor is sloped toward the drain, and they actually have a drain system here. This is more of a drain basin. It doesn't flow right to a normal plumbing drain, and there's a sump pump that pumps it out to a tank outside for discard, for disposal. But it's about 24 inches deep at the low, and so actually I think it's even deeper than that. And so it's a foot wide, 2.5 feet deep, and so they could probably do 10 washes before the sump pump even needs to come on. But notice we did the black border here just to kind of delineate the wash area. We swapped out and got them a proper height hose for the Mosmatic boom pole. So Mosmatic boom pole, I think, makes a huge difference if done and set up properly. And so we also got rid of that stupid Aqualine gun that I dislike so much. And we got them an OG spec integrated swivel OG Mosmatic fittings with the 20 degree bent wand, 20 degree bent wand, and so they're going to love using this, and they'll see the real difference between this and some of the other options out there that they've been using. And so the concept here, when you're washing and you're using a boom pole, so if you ever are fortunate enough to get a boom pole, don't make this mistake. It's end of boom, so at the very droop of the swivel to the floor, plus 3 feet. So otherwise you'll be smacking the car as you're walking around. So now, as I'm using and I'm walking around the car, the boom pole can follow me. It may hit me in the back of the legs, but it's not going to be smacking off the car. So that's really important if you're going to set up your pressure washer hose. They had a 25-foot just stock hose we were able to call OG, call my dad and say, hey, we need I forget what it was, a 13-foot 3-inch hose or something like that. So now we have the perfect height, which will help us with washing and making sure that they're able to keep the hose off the side of the car. I always like to take the hose and swing it around like so and tuck it behind so that when my boom pole stays in place. Apparently I need to wipe that stainless steel down too. So we were like fresh off the press here, you know. So these are our collaboration with Perfect Detail. And so the Rag Company guys are still, well, maybe we'll talk them into Griot's at some point, but they're still using the MPM foam cannons. We put some Prima fittings on here because we had easy access to them. But these Perfect Detail USA and OG collaboration, we're stowing our foam cannons. So they had 4 of them, so we did 4 of them. We're going to try to talk them into doing some built Hammer touchless in the future. So all here on fresh access, easy access. And if you take a look at the utility, we wanted to get our video done, so Mike has a couple more things to finish up here. But we have this guy. It's $10,000. I thought it was $6,000, but it's $10,000. But this is a Werther silent piston. I think it's what is the brand? It's like KDC is the internal pump. This is an aggregation, you know, so for those of you guys who are air compressor guys, this is a sort of a Frankenstein unit put together by Werther, but they're using, you know, I think really great parts and components. So this is a rotary screw compressor, so it operates in its silenced case. It operates at like 40 decibels. It's wild. So 40 dB, it's on wheels, so you can roll it around, has oil water separator, filter regulator, everything built into it. And you can see Mike we ordered and overnighted some Prevost piping. We weren't going to do Prevost piping, we were going to use the Rapid Air stuff, but it just wasn't great. And so everything was kind of out of plumb and a little bit wonky. And so now you can see it running up the wall. So we put a manifold here so that way we can access, especially for interior cleaning stuff they'll be doing a lot of over here. And we don't want to be able to blow out pads outside. So I also made them a OG spec 50-foot hose as well that they could plug and carry manually. But we're going to mount the egos here. We're going to put a shelf here that we just ordered so they can keep their various soaps here and, you know, right next to where the bucket setup is. And notice, last thing we're going to do before we leave tonight is, we're leaving in a few hours, is to do a bucket filler. So they wanted to do a bucket filler off of the DI system. We'll also, you know, version 3.0 of the Rag Company HQ will get the OG DI system, which is coming probably later this year. So we're still in final prototyping there. They like the Yeti buckets, so they have the Yeti buckets in here. Kranzle, single Kranzle, maybe 3.0 would include a dual Kranzle. I reached Jeff's limit and I pushed way past that. So single Kranzle is just fine, 2 gallons a minute, 1.9 gallons a minute. And then we set up and kind of work with some of the plumbing they already had. And Mike cleaned it up, for instance, putting the piping through the shelf because we don't have a hose reel here. So there's a valve because we have option to wash indoor, and there's also an outdoor wash area as well. So you just come in here, turn the valve, you can switch over to the outdoor boom pole that they have set up. So I think the key here, because they had a bunch of shelves and cabinets and just stuff. And so part of what they asked me to do was come in and organize, which is my strong suit. So we brought our crack team. It was awesome using their team as well because they have a bunch of OG spec guys as well, a bunch of guys that love the same stuff we love. And so we were able to collaborate as a group and really dial this place in from every cabinet, every drawer, every square inch of this place. We cleaned up above the bathrooms. There's a couple of closets that we need a little bit more work that John and Gabe and team and Jimmy will go and dial in after we leave. But we've got it like 99%. So the biggest change in the whole place that I probably should have mentioned at the beginning is the lighting. They had just a few fixtures, and I think some of them are still on. So they had these simple LED high bay fixtures above the CREE lights. So they had maybe 9 of those, and then they had the 2 setups of hex lights. I didn't realize, I went back, they showed me some of the B-roll footage of the previous garage and how it was set up. It was dark. And then they would supplement with lighting. And so now my argument is, I told Jeff, I said, don't let your media team let you buy any more lights. You don't need any more lights. this out of camera looks amazing. So these are CREE linear, so CREE LS. They're 8-foot lengths and 4-foot lengths, primarily 8-foot lengths. There's about 40 of them in here, so when people were panicking about how much they cost, it's about $15,000 worth of lighting, another $1,200 or so worth of lighting control with a Lutron 0 to 10 volt stuff. We did RAW 2 Select, so they'll also be able to control it from their phone. But this lighting transforms the whole space. The only problem is it showed us all the black walls, all the imperfections, so Mike had to do a lot of work to get the walls somewhat dialed in. So black walls are really, really difficult to deal with because it shows every imperfection. And so we had to do a bunch of drywall work for behind the LevRack. But the lighting in here, luckily we didn't have to do it this time. We wouldn't have been able to get that done. And so they had some local electricians come in, set up the lighting. Last thing we need, we didn't realize they didn't have, is each of the light fixtures has a bracket that makes sure that everything stays true and straight. And for some reason, I guess they didn't have those, or maybe they haven't shown up yet. So that's one thing they'll want to go and finish up with the lighting. But this is a conditioned space. It's air conditioned, super comfortable. It's probably 72 degrees in here, low humidity. And then in the winter, they'll heat it as well. But this is where they will shoot all their product videos. They shoot their TR SEMA every year in here. So Jeff wanted to make sure that this was ready and available for vendors to come in and set up, be clean, comfortable, organized. And the new crop of the team here is now tasked with making sure that this gets inventoried, stays clean, stays organized from now until forever. They re-epoxied the photo staging area, so this is where they, will shoot a lot of product stuff with cars, and so this area stayed epoxy. And so notice we did the edges on the SwissTrax around this section. Did a little bit of overlap. I think that turned out pretty nice. Another thing they're going to have to do. The local concrete people didn't do the lift correctly, so we SwissTraxed over the lift. But they're going to come in. We already ordered likely a Jumbo 9, a Nussbaum Jumbo 9. We're going to get rid of the twin bush. They tried modifying the twin bush and made a mistake. And so now the twin bush is pretty much toast. And so they actually cut the ramps off. The problem is if you cut the extension ramps off, then it doesn't fit like 80% of cars. And they didn't realize that. And so we're going to get rid of the twin bush. We advise them not to use the twin bush because there's only 2 inches of base concrete underneath, and you need a good 4-inch. It needed to be rebarred and keyed into the existing slab. And so we're going to get a local contractor come out and re-pour it, redo it, and get a Nussbaum lift in here, which I think they'll really, really enjoy. If they ever grow out of this facility and move to something bigger, I talked to Jeff, I said, look, the Nussbaum's going to last you the rest of your life. So, and then some. So we'll make sure that we swap that. So the lift is not operational. We're going to be swapping the twin bush and setting that up. We reduced the wall of polishers down to just cordless, and actually these will all probably be replaced here shortly. I think I may have seen some prototype or final production type 24 volt flex stuff coming, so that's interesting because I always felt like the XFE15, the dual action version, was a little underpowered. The new Rupes stuff is beautiful, so we left this on display, but we reduced it by half just to keep things clean, right? You don't have to fill every wall. You don't have to fill every drawer. And that was my recommendation to them. I mean, remember, they had me come out here because I'm me. I'm the crazy person. And so they had me come out here and then let me do what I do, which is to hopefully get them a great result. So we have Mike, you can see, worked his wizardry with Prevost piping here. We actually used the Rapid Air trunk line because it would have cost thousands and thousands more to do all Prevost. So all the visible areas of Prevost where you see it coming down the wall, we swapped over from Prevost or from Rapid Air to Prevost. And so we have our Cox hose reels. This is the OG spec version with our original Stowflex hose. We've modified those a bit, but these were so expensive and they're so great. I just said, hey, we'll leave the Stowflex hose alone. We don't need to swap it out. It's got the Prevost S1 couplers, the fluid swiveling coupler on it. And so I thought it would make sense to flank the You know, the lift area, I've kind of gone away from doing 4 of them. It seems overkill. You usually only use 1 or 2. And so we've gone down to doing just 2, you know, caddy corner of the car, and it works out really well. And then you have the masterpiece. I cannot explain to you how much I love these cabinets. It's taken me a lifetime to get here, for me to find them and to get to them. I'm a little disappointed in that we couldn't get the doors here in time. 2 of them took a shipping impact, 2 of the doors. But these cabinets are, I believe, the best in the world. I still love Sonic. Sonic is in my Helen house, and I don't plan on ever changing it. I love the Sonic MSS Plus stuff. I love the Sonic MSS cabinets. They fit a certain purpose, a certain aesthetic. These are quite a bit more industrial looking, more industrial quality, industrial grade. The Sonic fit and finish is second to none. These guys are actually rivaling it. I was really disappointed with the Listas that I bought at my house. It was a life pursuit that I got. I was really disappointed in the quality of them, the tolerances. The countertops are the best I've ever seen. The tolerance of each cabinet is the best I've ever seen. The powder coating is the best I've ever seen. There wasn't a nib, there wasn't a run, there wasn't a weld slag like on all my Lista stuff. Everything just fits. Everything was, we could flush in. The finish was perfect. It was really awesome. Now, installed, not super, they expect you to have some skill. So the install isn't super straightforward, but I'm gonna solve that for you and show you all the little things as we do many of these arrays. Make sure to go watch the series if you're considering these cabinets. But it really turned out great, and you can see what we did here. We kind of toyed with I was trying to teach, you know, their channel. Make sure to go check out their channel on how I organize this. But tried to teach them how I organize, which is we had 2 pallets worth of stuff and a bunch of stuff that was already here, and then, you know, unbox it, put it on the countertop, start to organize it. I was planning on organizing it by product process instead of product brand. But because of the way that they represent products, they represent different product lines, all great lines. We decided to do it this way, where then I would sort of organize it by, you know, interior, exterior, that sort of stuff. But I did some wiring here where I have their charging setup, which was just kind of hung sort of crooked on the wall, and so tied up their wires. Got their scan grip stuff ready to go. Their pads are all in one spot. They have some more pads we have to go grab. The corded polishers, because they don't use them as much, we tied up the cords, made it look pretty. Some more sophisticated, you know, sanding and stuff underneath here. But notice, we have room. We have room for expansion. The goal isn't to fill up all the drawers. It doesn't help that when a truck runs into the side of a cabinet, it makes it a little bit crooked. So we're going to fix that. But we have our recycling section here, which we're going to use, or recycling garbage. We're going to use these for towels only. Jeff wants to have trash done elsewhere. Don't put trash in here, because some people will go and throw a cheeseburger in there and 2 weeks later stink up the place. So naturally, we're going to have towels in drawers at the rag company. So Tommy and I spent time going through and making sure that all their drawers are set up with towels. We have the drawers set up with all the Detail Factory stuff, some of the rag company products, and so everything here is all dialed in and set up. My partnership with Tool Grid means that we'll get the guys some tool grid out here, and so we'll get this stuff tool gridded. But all the drawers actually have Tool Grid's drawer liner, Mantis's drawer liner, and so this is a much better drawer liner than any other, and so stuff tends to stay in place as long as you don't really rip into the drawers. But here's the coolest thing about the Rousseau stuff. These drawers have zero, even a drawer this big. Check out this drawer. So we got on some Sonic stuff. There's no deflection, right? So the drawers hold 440 pounds, but because they don't deflect, they don't wobble. Even on this large drawer, it's not wobbling or walking in. It's going in uniform and even. Now, because they're industrial level, these drawers don't have things like soft closing mechanisms. You don't get to get both. You either have super sturdy, usable, life-lasting hinges, or drawer glides, I should say, with things like zero deflection and just perfect operation, or you can have some pretty soft closing and then drawers that can't hold more than 100 pounds. But check this out too, how they open up and come out. So all I do is just lift up and I can remove the drawer. Same thing, lift it up, push it in, and the removal is very, very easy, as if I ever needed to take a drawer out for some reason. The corner was pretty complicated for us to figure out, but they have a pretty genius setup on how they do a corner cabinet, and a corner countertop, and the corner upper. Notice we have power. We did the OG under cabinet lighting. Man, we really hooked them up, man. This place is freaking awesome. Starnagos is here. This is Koshkemi. I think this is my favorite cabinet. We have an empty cabinet here. We have an empty cabinet here. We set up all their flex stuff. So all their flex tools for, doing just work around the garage. And then I have everything plugged in. All of our charging stations are double-sided taped down so they don't move and they stay in position. Same thing with the Rupes and flex chargers over there for the polishers. So we also did another array here. The original thought was one would be for trash, one would be for towels, but it is a rag company, so it makes sense that we would do all towels here. Look how amazing this looks. Is this not cool or what? But I'm in love with the fit, finish. My Rousseau cabinets come for OGHQ in probably a month or so. It's just incredible how well this turned out. What else do we have here to think about? So their power cord rails are already here, nothing special about that. Yeah, I mean, I think this is common in our projects, right? Where it's like, oh man, we didn't really do anything, right? It's like that's the point, is to make it look clean, make it look organized, make it look structured, make it look like the goal, I think, in life is that if you had a friend over or a family, instead of that hurricane cleanup, everything is clean, everything has a space, you have room to expand, room to grow. I think that's the key, to have that perspective when you're setting up a garage like this. Oh, I forgot to mention, we did do the PPF, the countertops, to help with the stainless getting scratched. But man, this turned out great. This is a lot of fun too. It's great. I've been so fortunate to be able to do really awesome projects with great people, and that makes it even better. And so this is another garage project for the books. We'll continue to do these things. We do have a garage giveaway going on right now. It runs till August 31st. So if you're seeing this video sometime between now and then, you have 20 days or so to get in and make sure you lock your spot down. We're gonna pick somebody and come out and do this for them. Maybe not quite this big, but chances are you have a three-car garage, maybe a 4-car. We can come out and transform your garage as well. So if you want to just hire us to do it, hit up obsessedgarage.com, go to the design tab, fill out the form, get with Kyle and team. If it's something simple, what we generally do is take a $1,000 deposit and apply it toward the purchase, lay it out, render it for you, work with your contractors, all that kind of stuff. But make sure you go hit them up. If you happen to be looking for a job, we are looking for another designer. We've had such great success here recently. So Kyle's looking for an OG type, a 99%er. Actually, what did Kyle say? If it's 99% correct, it's incorrect. He's looking for a 100%er. So if you think you might foot that bill, hit me up, send me an email, matt@obsessedgarage.com. We are looking for another person to join the team. We're looking to change the world here when it comes to making amazing garages like this. So thanks to Jeff and team, all the guys at the Rag Company, who I call friends for life. Really appreciate their hospitality and their trust in letting us do this. And thanks to my team, to the Wabas, to Mike F., to Trevor, to Tommy. We did it again. So thanks everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed this series. And make sure to go check out the Rag Company and watch their videos if you want to see them actually using this space. And most importantly, if you see anything out of place, call them out on it. If you call them out on it, then Jeff will step in and make sure this place is dialed. So if you see anything out, I want you have Matt Mormon's permission, let me know, I'll let them know, or just comment on their videos saying, hey guys, you told us that it was gonna stay dialed in. Keep it that way. Thanks for your support. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. I'm going home. This is a big project. We'll see you soon.